Welcome back to Dork Points, everybody, and today we are looking at all the games I have recently played on PS Extra. Yeah, they're not leaving or anything, these are just the games I've played. It's a feature list. Starting with a sort of trilogy of games. Yeah, it's not October, I don't know why I felt the need to play these three right in a row, but they're from the same studio or creators. You got Untitled Dawn, Man of Medan, which is part of the Dark Pictures anthology, and then of course The Quarry. Now I'm showing these out of order from the order that I played them in, just so you understand. So I started with The Quarry. I think that was the first free-to-play one, and the one I was most interested in. And then after I played it and I dug it, I went back and started with Until Dawn, and then I played Man of Medan. Now, all these games are similar in a certain way, but different in another. But yeah, they're all on PS Extra, and they're all free-to-play. They're all good and bad in their own special way. Let's start with Until Dawn, of course, which you are seeing the cinematics for. And there's the great Peter Stormare, just wonderful in this game. The character, what do you call it, rendering or captures, or however they did the characters in this, it looks really good. More so than The Quarry, though, this game kind of boils down to a survival horror element in some sections, almost kind of like another game we're going to mention later, Alan Wake. But, so yeah, you kind of have your flashlight, and you have a gun with very limited ammo, and you're wandering around these very dangerous areas, and maybe spoilers ahead, but there is a twist in the story where all of a sudden there are monsters, and you have to fight and shoot them, and it really turns and becomes a different game. Initially, it's about choices and just moving through the level and being smart, but then, yeah, there is this weird element of survival horror. So moving on to Man of Medan, which has much less of that and is more basically story-driven. I don't recall many scenes where you had to shoot your gun or do anything like that. It's mostly choices and button mashes and stuff like that. And here's our introduction to these characters in this little cinematic. I kind of like these characters a little more, but I gotta say, all the games, they introduce you to these people, and you kind of hate them at first, and the one thing they do really well is they build them into real characters. No matter what you think of the ending or the story as a whole, the games themselves are well thought out, and the characters are very well written and flushed out, and probably because they're all played by real actors. Again, all these people are professional actors you see who have been motion captured. That's the word I'm looking for. They've been motion captured into these games, and yeah. But yeah, Man of Medan, I'd say Until Dawn was, I guess, my least favorite to play, because Man of Medan is kind of quick and easy. It seems much shorter. There are moments, well, I should say, the one thing I do love about Until Dawn is it doesn't save every time you make a choice. It saves each section or chapter or part, so you can stop the game and close it, and then come back in, and you'll be at that chapter beginning. So that's nice. Now, speaking of games that don't do that and annoy me, The Quarry. Now, here's another group of unlikable-looking characters who at first you just don't dig at all. But, yeah, they really grow on you, and the story is great, and the atmosphere is great, and the look is so good. But there are no checkpoints you can go back to. The moment you make a decision in a chapter, it's done. And you have to go back and restart the whole chapter. So if you want one of your characters that you like to live, you have to go and play the whole chapter again. And then that sends you down the rabbit hole of looking things up and trying to figure out how to get the best playthrough. And I don't want to sit and watch a whole video of the game I'm playing and watch somebody else play the whole thing just so I can figure out how to get that best ending. Also, some of the button prompts are extremely confusing in this game. Instead of A, B, and stuff, they do up, down, left, right with either trigger, but it confuses you at times. You get pulled out of the game because you're trying to press the wrong buttons because you're used to other kind of games. But very great, almost FMV style. I love all these games. Thumbs up. Alright, moving on to another PS Extra game you should check out, Grid Legends. Really solid, really pretty looking racing game. I like it a lot. I played the hell out of it. I played the whole story mode, and then I went to career. Now, unfortunately, career mode has about 150 different races in it, and you're in the same areas. They reuse the maps, and then there's sponsored events, and the only way to get the sponsored events is to do something specific during a certain race, and that will open up your sponsorships. So the game becomes kind of impossible. I must say, I at least played 100 races. There might even be 300 races in the game. It's ridiculous. Check out the career mode if you have this thing downloaded. It's insane. I couldn't handle it. So sadly, I kind of moved on after a while, but I got halfway through career mode. That's respectable. Alright, moving on to a game that most of you already know. Far Cry Primal. I had never had a chance to play this game. I am glad that I finally did. But this one I am slow playing. I'm basically doing one area at a time. Every night I just find one section or one Wenja escort mission. There's different kinds of missions in the game, of course. But yeah, I just do one at a time every night and kind of take it slow. Kind of like another game we're going to talk about next, Man-Eater. I'm not very good at spoilers, am I? But anyway, yeah, this game is good and solid. There's a lot of really frustrating parts. This part, I still can't beat this camp, and yeah, there's some kind of difficulty setting when you start the game, but still, if it says the camp is very hard, the camp is near impossible. But you do get to befriend animals, and I have a saber-toothed tiger with me. He's low on health. He's that little ball in the corner moving around. There he is. There he is. And, oh, it was so great. Once I got him, I could really move forward in the game, but that was a pain just to get him. So the game's a little bit of a pain. Speaking of Riders Republic, now we're on a Ubisoft trend. We had the first 3 games kind of made by the same people. Now we have 3 more games that you're going to see, and they're all Ubisoft games that I've been playing the heck out of. This one I kind of just recently stopped. It's great. You know, I loved Steep a lot, and this has a lot of those elements. Riders Republic, well, it has much more. It has so much more. There's snowboarding, there's biking, there's rocket wings, there's parachuting, there's wingsuits, all sorts of different styles of biking and all those different sports. And I guess there's even skateboarding now, and there's some BMX tricking stuff, but most of that is DLC, and there's a lot of DLC to this game, and you do not get that ultimate edition with all the DLC in this version, which is unfortunate. And as you can see right now, I'm playing on a hoverboard and having a hell of a time on this level, but the point of this level is actually to get points, so I'm I'm sort of doing it correctly, even though it looks terrible. But yeah, I really dug this game. Some of the, you know, everybody has their favorite sports and the things they're good at, and that is kind of the problem with this game, because there's so many different things, and some of them you're just not going to be good at. And so, you know, after I opened up the majority of the map, the game just kind of stalled out, and I kind of just put it aside, unfortunately. Alright, and the final Ubisoft game of the night, Man-Eater. Speaking of games that I sadly put aside, but this one is still in my list of games that I'm currently playing, because every once in a while at night I turn it on and I just eat people. And this is a great game to just turn on and mess around in. It's so much fun. Yeah, Man-Eater, I was really excited to start playing this game, and then when I started playing it, and this was before it was on Extra. I actually bought it for like $10 somewhere. I got a great deal on it. But the initial game is really hard. You started as a small shark, and then alligators and all sorts of big fish come and attack you, and just getting past your first alligator in the swamp, like, you can tell I'm much further in the game right now. Yeah, I'm taking on a boss, actually, but just your initial, like, first alligator they want you to take out, just avoid. That is my suggestion to everybody. Just do what you can and move on to the next area and then come back. Unfortunately, that's the way the game works. I gave up on the game for a short while just because I couldn't beat an alligator in the first area, the swampy area, and it just irritated me. But then finally I moved on one night. I think I was drunk or something. But I moved on and just did a bunch of little stuff and kind of upgraded my shark and got him into more of a killing machine. However, I have to say, this game has stumped me. There's one collectible I can't get. I'm so close to platinuming it. And then, of course, the final fight with Scaly Pete is so hard. Oh, dear God. But everything about this game is pretty near perfect, I have to say. Alright, speaking of other things that are almost perfect, but slightly broken, humanity. Humanity is so good. It's so fun to play. Well, some levels are fun to play, and some levels, as soon as you get into them, you immediately dread what you have to do. Like these levels, which are stealth missions, and you have to sneak around the whole stinking level. And this section in particular, the reason I'm showing this level is this section almost made me shut the game off and delete it completely, because you gotta lead these people up this 3-brick climb, but you can't do it yourself as your spirit dog. And there's a bunch of sections in this game where your spirit dog just falls off of things. He's your avatar, and you're leading these humans around, but every once in a while you have to jump into a human in order to go up something. You have to follow them up a path because you can't reach it, and it's very tricky. And sometimes you press the right buttons and it doesn't work. So that is a major complaint of this game. It's happened again and again where I've tried to follow my humans, but I have to jump in a human, and for some reason the game just bugs out or doesn't let you do it. But then again, you know, I've been able to move on somehow. Once in a while, you know, I just keep plugging at it and it works. And also, you don't have to beat every level, which is nice too. You just need enough stars. Like a lot of puzzle games, you need enough stars to open the next area, and that's kind of cool. Oh, and yes, Virginia, there are boss fights. Look at this thing. Was not expecting this, but again, you know, the game is great because it just changes things up on you over and over again. But this is like a 7-tier boss fight, not 3 like a normal game. It's like 7 phases. Ugh, it's tough. Right, moving on to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Of course, this is free to play on Extra, and if you haven't played it, grab a friend and play it. I know for a lot of people, they might load it in and start button mashing and just be bored with it, but the moment you play it with 1 or 2 other friends, I would say if you can get 3, do it. But man, it is so much fun. It is this, of course, and if you don't dig this kind of game, you're not gonna necessarily love it. But man, it's just that old school kind of look and feel and satisfaction of the game. It's fun for me to play, and of course I'm a huge Streets of Rage and kind of old school gamer fan, so you know this is in my wheelhouse. But I have to say, it is, and you can see I'm playing alone on this video, but I beat the whole game with my daughter, and I think me, Chris, and Jake also beat it, and those were the times where it was the best. And one drawback is, even to platinum the game, you'd have to play it like so many times. So it's a tough platinum, even though it's deceiving. Alright, moving on to Redout. Now this is the one on the list that I have to admit, I played it, but I didn't dig, and I will not finish this game. It's your standard, you know, it's like Wipeout, or what was that other game, Grip? It's like a combination of Wipeout and Grip. Wipeout, I would say the first game, I have like the Wipeout collection where it's got kind of 3 games in it, and this is, you know, this level that you're looking at, you can't tell, but there's a bunch of levels on this game that are super punishing, and you just keep falling off the track, just like in Grip. However, then it has these kind of levels, which are really fun, and remind me of Wipeout a lot. And so it's a mixed bag here, but as a whole, you know, I played the hell out of Wipeout. I don't know that I need another game that does such a similar thing. There needs to be something else to it. We'll see. I'll try to keep playing it as much as I can, but, you know. Alright, Alan Wake Remastered, and we are almost to the bottom of our list of things that I have recently played on Extra. Alan Wake was the one I was the most excited about seeing and playing again, but honestly, I haven't played the original since it first came out, so I couldn't tell you if it looks any better. It feels and plays exactly the same to me, and it's a great little game. It's very Stephen King. If you haven't played it, at this point, I don't know that you'll ever want to play it, but if you're a fan of, like, weird Stephen King, and I would even say, like, Dean Koontz kind of stuff, it's not the most brilliant plot, but, and it's also, you're stuck in the woods for a lot of the game. That is a complaint that I never realized before, but the game is so satisfying to play, and just all the mechanics are brilliant. There's really nothing like it out there. Alright, moving on to our final game of the night, A Hat in Time. Yes, and I am so excited about this one. I just started playing this, but I needed to highlight it, because first of all, look, there's a room full of pillows. You start the game, and you have a pillow room. Isn't that awesome? It's a pillow room. But this game is a kind of kids-like, I say kids-like platformer lightly, because as soon as you get into the meat of the game, especially the boss fights, you start to realize this is a platformer for people who grew up on platformers, not really for kids, unless they're just gifted at video games and all the ins and outs. But there's so many references and styles here that are harkening back to old school games that you kind of need to know in order to just, really whoop this game's butt. I do have to say the camera is really I don't love the camera, and then your character disappears when the camera goes in close. The camera should be a little further or a little more dynamic. That's the one big failing of this game, but I mean, look at the levels. There's so much here, and there's so many things to collect, and every area is big. And then this is the best part, this beautiful soundtrack. I don't know if you can hear the dogs barking, but I promise you, one of my next videos is just going to be the entire segment of this dog barking song, because it's so great. I promise I'm going to do that. But yeah, there you go. Hat in Time, that's our final extra game that I have played recently. There you go. Yeah! Dork points fully earned. Thank you guys for watching.